Thank you. I have two questions, please. U.S. Defense Secretary said that Israel will only win in Gaza if civilians are protected. In fact, the most who killed are civilians, children, and women. So that means Israel is losing, and when this war will end.
I do not think I would draw that conclusion from what the Secretary of Defense said. The Secretary of Defense was making a similar, but I think fairly pointed point, similar point to what others in the administration have made. You have heard the Secretary say that far too many civilians have been killed in Gaza. You have heard the Secretary say that, Secretary Blinken, that Israel needs to do more to minimize civilian harm and protect civilians from harm. That was the focus of our trip to Israel last week, and I think I shouldn't speak to what the Secretary of Defense says, because there's another spokesperson across the river who does that, but I think he was making the larger point that the way Israel conducts this war matters, and I will let his spokesperson elaborate on that further. And with respect to the prediction, I just can't make that prediction.
Today or yesterday late today, I talked with my cousin. He in Gaza. He lives in Gaza. He's not related to Hamas. He told me, we are hungry. We don't have food, no water for my children, for my grandchildren. He told me everything is targeting human, unhuman, green. He told me this is, you talk about future in Gaza, they will remove Gaza from the map. What are you talking about? So please consider for a while, or think, if you are if you put yourself on their place, what do you think? What you are going to do?
So first of all, let me just say I'm sorry to hear that account. I know it's a family member. That is extraordinarily difficult, and I'm sorry to hear it. I will say that what the United States is doing to address that very situation is, number one, making clear to Israel that we do not want to see this campaign conducted in the South the way it has been conducted in the North. We are 4 or 5 days into this campaign in the South. It's just started again after the pause. It's too early to make, I think, overall assessments about how it's going, but certainly I know for civilians on the ground, conditions are incredibly difficult. We are engaging with the government of Israel at every level to try to increase the amount of humanitarian assistance that is getting in, so people do have food and people do have water. We are working with UNRWA to try to identify sites where civilians can go to be safe from harm, and working with the government of Israel to ensure that those sites are protected and are not targeted. There is not enough being done right now. The level of assistance that's getting in is not sufficient. It needs to go up, and we've made that clear to the government of Israel. The level of fuel that is going in is not sufficient. It needs to go up, and we have made that clear to the government of Israel. And we will continue to engage with them on every level, precisely to try and address the very real human suffering that your family member is going through, and we know so many civilians in Gaza are going through.
And when this war will end, please? This tragic war.
There is no way that I can stand here and make that type of a prediction.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.